Welcome everybody, this is Georgia here. It is December 28th at 10:11 a.m. in the morning. I keep waking up and feeling like I need to do this type of reading. It's kind of been prodding me, and I thought maybe it was like individual readings, but it's not really. It's more about the nature of death and what it's like to be in spirit and what people in spirit can do and not do. And I wanted to get it down today while it was on my mind. I had a few minutes. This is a spread. There's no particular pattern to it. It's just cards that have words on them. And the first one is, although you may not understand it now, everything happens for a reason. And that's true, and I'm saying this because a lot of people are, including myself, are in mourning now because we've lost people. There's so many people dying of COVID and other things too. I just lost a friend a couple of weeks ago, and he died from COVID, and another friend of mine lost her best friend recently. So I wanted to talk a little bit about death. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it or think about it or hear about it, and that's fine. If you just want to shut this off, it's perfectly okay. But I have to share my thoughts on it. And the first one is that everything happens for a reason. There is a big picture to all this, to all of us being here, to all of us being alive on the planet. There's a big picture. It's not just about the day-to-day things that happen. It's about the fact that the soul lives on and is endless. And each lifetime is just a drop in the bucket of the life of that soul, the lifespan, which is endless, really. And everything serves a purpose. And if you look at it like we are here to learn things, lessons as a soul, that is our primary purpose, is that our soul comes here and inhabits different bodies with different astrological patterns to them when they're born, different families, different genetic inheritances. And these are all carefully chosen, and we come into them because there's something that our soul desperately needs to learn in order to continue to grow. And the growth can take thousands of years. There's no time to it. There's no time up there or wherever it is that is not here. There's no timing, and it doesn't really matter. So this is but like a speck or a drop in the ocean. It's just a very small part of all that is. So we have to look at it like that. And this planet is a planet for lessons. This is where souls come to learn and experience, where they can feel emotion and they can, have all these millions of different types of experiences. And sometimes death is for a reason. It could be for you to learn something, to grow, because unfortunately humans seem to grow through adversity. They don't necessarily grow just because they think about it. They grow through adversity. And that's the unfortunate thing about being human, is sometimes we need to get clubbed over the head. So sometimes these things will happen in order to give a lesson to the people or person who is left behind. Sometimes death is a lesson for the soul. Sometimes the soul learns even through the means of their death. Like I lost a friend who was a very controlling person, wanted to control everything. And this was several years ago. And he admitted it, he knew it. And in his final illness, he had no control over anything, not his body, not when he went to the bathroom, nothing. He just completely had no control. And his soul took that lesson. The body might have died, but the soul took the lesson. So even death can be a lesson. So we may not necessarily know the reason why that person passed when they did. It could be that they were just done and that they'd done all they needed to do here. We don't know. We don't have all that knowing. So And they leave things behind, you know, for us. Mostly the love that they have in their hearts. So death can be a huge lesson, and that's the reason for it. So sometimes you may not even find this out until after the fact. Could be 5 years from now, you might figure out why this happened and what effect it had on you. And that doesn't happen right away. Sometimes it's retrospect that we need. Number 2 is I watch over you every day. So the theme throughout this reading is that there's no such thing as death, which is this card, and I am not dead, which is this card, and I watch over you every day. So obviously, if they are watching over you every day, they're not dead. They're not gone. We tend to think of death as a finite thing, and it isn't. It's just the death of the body. And that's important. I mean, we can't minimize that either, because a lot of what we are is our bodies and what we do with our bodies. And, you know, do our bodies help people? You know, do we use our bodies to make the world a better place? Do we use our bodies to make love to someone? Our bodies are a big part of it, and that's important too, but it's the soul that lives on and takes the lessons. So for you that have lost people, know that they are there. They're still there, and they're watching over you. They're there. They maybe help you in some way. Maybe they're like a guardian angel, but they watch over you every day. So for those of you who have just lost someone, remember that. The next card is I see all your thoughts. And I think that people that are dead communicate psychically. So when we think, they're able to pick up on our thoughts. And so keep your thoughts positive. I mean, if you're sitting around and mourning and crying, that's hard on them too. You have to understand that. I'm not saying not to do that, because we need to do that, but it's hard on them. They see it, they know it, and it's hard for them to move on. And there is a moving on. There is a place where you move on to, and that could be another incarnation. It could be, you know, a soul state. Could be an angel. Maybe they actually got lucky enough to get off the wheel of reincarnation on this planet and go somewhere else. But if they're sitting here concerned about you, they will hang around longer than they need to. So just know that, and be mindful of what you're thinking about them. And, you know, truthfully, if you have any anger that they left you, or anything like that, it's okay to express that. I mean, you can let them know that you're angry that they left. And you need to deal with your own anger within you. You can't just suppress it and feel guilty about it. Sometimes you do feel angry when people have left and you're left behind. So, you know, you have to deal with that too. But mostly, you talk to them. You know, you can keep talking to them. I think that's important. There is no such thing as death, which we talked about. And I am not dead is the last card. So this, I believe that there's somebody here who, maybe some of you have lost someone, and you feel like it's a really finite thing, and that it's done, they're gone forever, and they're really trying to tell you that that's not so. I can feel somebody saying, this is not the way it is. I am here. Why can't you hear me? You need to hear me. Listen for me. You know, and I feel like almost a frustration coming, because they can't get through to whoever the person is that may be listening to this, that they are not dead in the terms of death as we think of it. And we think of death as, again, like finite. It's done, it's over, there's like nothingness, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. So I'm not sure who this is for, but there are people who maybe need to hear this. Remember me by the happy memories we created. those are the things that live on. I mean, it's not about the things that you've bought or the designer purses that you've had or the shoes or art or whatever. It's not about any of that. It's about memories and the love and what is in your heart. And what is in your heart transcends death. You leave the love behind. You leave a person who maybe knew they were loved, or maybe they didn't know they were loved, you know? And that's what a lot of dead people want to convey, people that have passed, is that they did love. And I feel like there's somebody out there who maybe did not say that, and they want to say it now. I love you. I will always love you. And whoever needs to hear that, I hope, is listening. But there is love, and when they pass, they drop a lot of the cares of the material world. They do not become all-knowing. I think that's a fallacy, is that, you know, you think that because someone is dead, they're all-knowing. And talking to spirits who are stuck on the astral plane, who haven't been able to move on, thinking that they have some grand knowledge of how everything works, is not true. They don't. You know, they still continue to do their work on the next plane. And they may have to take incarnation again. So that's not something that we necessarily would know, but you have to understand that that's how it works. There definitely is life after death. I can tell you that emphatically. I have seen it. I have seen spirits. I've communicated with them. They definitely go on. It's just very hard when they're in a different vibration than you're in. You're in a very, relatively speaking, low vibration on this planet. And when they shed their bodies, they become much higher vibrating. And it's hard to communicate. It's like somebody's speaking in English and somebody else is speaking in Greek. And it's hard to communicate an idea back and forth. So you can help that by, you know, opening yourself up, accepting that life goes on, and accepting that your person is still with you, and just talk to them when you can, and eventually you will get an answer. And the other thing I want to say is that, you know, once people pass, sometimes it takes a while for them to adjust and figure out where they're going, and it takes a while for them to come back to you and send you a sign. And signs may take many different forms, so you have to be really observant. You know, feathers, white feathers, and, you know, butterflies, and, you know, animals that act in strange ways, voices that you hear, dreams that you have. There's all different ways of spirits communicating, and you have to be aware, you know, and they'll let you know. They absolutely will. They'll let you know that they're okay. Sometimes it's time for them to just move on, so they might not stay and be with you for a very long time, you know. And yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to do this. It's kind of been nagging at me for the last couple of mornings. Because I feel like there are some people who have recently passed that have things to say. And they just want to let you know that they're okay and they love you. And that death is not something to be feared. Or I should say passing. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, get in touch with me through my website, www.ravenhawktarot.com. and bright blessings of the season to everyone.